On October 28th, Archangel Michael and Jesus said, "Your time is over. I will visit you at night. Open this before 11:22 p.m. This is not a joke. Your life is about to. October 28th is not just a date on the calendar. It is a divine timestamp, etched in the scrolls of heaven long before the sun and moon bore witness to it. Before time wrapped itself in flesh, before your name was whispered into the womb, this night was sealed. It was written as a moment of unveiling, a time where heaven would send forth its message not to the multitudes, but to the few, the awakened, the broken, the brave. You, beloved, are not here by accident. This message didn't find you. You were marked to find it. On that sacred night, Archangel Michael, defender of destinies, and Jesus, the Word made flesh, stood together and declared, "Your time is over." But hear this clearly. It was not a death sentence. No, this was not the ending of your life. It was the ending of your old season. An expiration of alignment with patterns that served your past but threatened your future. It was the divine declaration that the delay, the confusion, the stagnation, and the unseen warfare, it all ends here. This message is not a broadcast to the world. It is a whisper to the remnant, a call to those whose spirits have been stirred without explanation, whose nights have grown restless, whose dreams have become louder. You have been feeling it, haven't you? The stirring in the silence, the urgency that's hard to name. That's not anxiety. That's summoning. The veil between realms is growing thin. Time is folding in on itself. Heaven has chosen 11:22 p.m. as the hour of crossing, the moment where silence becomes symphony and stillness becomes instruction. If your spirit led you here before that moment, it wasn't curiosity. It was calling. You are being summoned by name, not by chance. The heavens will not knock twice. What's about to visit your space will not speak in thunder but in stillness. And only the obedient, only the silent, will hear the voice that comes at night. Before the clock strikes, something will shift. Not in the news, not in the rue, but in the spirit realm. And those who have ears to hear, they will feel it first. Type "I am called" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 7722 is now active over your house. Hear the sound, child of heaven, not with ears of flesh, but with the trembling of your spirit. The wind has shifted. The heavens have begun to move. There is a sound rising from the unseen, a trumpet not made of metal, but of glory, echoing across eternity. It is the sound of visitation. It is the sound of divine feet stepping into earthly time. It is the signal of a countdown in the spirit, and it began the moment your eyes were led to this message. The decree is clear. The voice of Jesus and the authority of Archangel Michael are in agreement. They speak not with volume, but with finality. Your time is over. Let that echo within you, not as threat but as truth, not as ending but as awakening. This is the termination of what chained you. This is the expiration of what diluted your purpose. This is heaven's way of announcing not your defeat, but your release. You have heard many words, but this one is time sensitive. Do not delay. Do not reason it away. The Spirit speaks clearly. 11:22 p.m. is not a random hour. It is the crossing point. The line between mercy extended and movement enacted. After this hour, the instruction shifts. After this hour, the spiritual atmosphere responds not to excuses, but to obedience. Heaven has begun its motion. It does not wait for convenience. It waits for surrender. Let every breath you take now carry this urgency. This is not for all. only those who were meant to hear it before the midnight hour. Do not look to the left or to the right. This is not a collective word. This is personal. This is intimate. This is divine targeting. Heaven doesn't miss. The reason your spirit is trembling is because it recognizes the sound. The voice of the Spirit thunders gently. Watch the night. Watch the silence. Watch the air. Because when heaven speaks, time obeys. This is the night of divine interruption. Dreams will carry more weight. The atmosphere will feel thicker. For some, the silence will become deafening. For others, the shadows in the room will shift, not to haunt, but to host. An angelic presence will enter without announcement. Some will feel chills. Others will be awakened by an unknown whisper. This is visitation. This is holy surveillance. This is not fear. This is confirmation. Hear this now. The Spirit says, watch how the night responds when your name is spoken in heaven. You may not have heard it on earth, but there have been a summons. There has been a moment when the scroll was unsealed and your name was read aloud in front of witnesses. Archangel Michael drew his sword not for a nation, but for you. The Lion of Judah spoke not over a city, but over you. And when Jesus said, I will visit you at night, it was not poetic language, it was prophetic movement. You are being watched, not to be condemned, but to be confirmed. You are being summoned, not for trial, but for transition. You are being marked, not for punishment, but for positioning. Let not your heart be troubled, even though it trembles. What is about to visit you tonight comes not to break you, but to unveil who hath been with you in every hidden battle. Michael has been near. Jesus has never left. The Spirit has hovered over your waters. And tonight, they draw near in manifestation. Tonight is not ordinary. Tonight is holy. Tonight, heaven speaks, and the earth must respond. Type I receive this visitation in the comments if this message stirs your spirit. Blessing code 1133 is now surrounding your name in heaven. The signs have already begun. You felt them before you knew what they were. The flicker of lights with no cause. A sudden chills in a still room. The weight on your chest when no one else was around. This is not coincidence. This is not imagination. This is the language of the unseen, the disruption that always precedes revelation. What you thought was anxiety was not your emotions breaking down, it was your spirit waking up. Some of you have walked through the past days and weeks in a strange fog. You've asked, what is wrong with me? But heaven whispers, nothing is wrong. You are being stirred because something is coming right. The disruption in your emotions has not been chaos. It had been confirmation. You are not losing your mind. You are crossing over into spiritual alignment, and the enemy cannot follow you there without retaliation. You've noticed the shift, haven't you? People around you behaving strangely. Conversations turning cold. Betrayals surfacing. Words twisted. Whispers about your name. But hear this clearly. They whispered your name, but they never knew its weight in the spirit. They saw your actions, but they never discerned your anointing. They saw your delay, but they could not comprehend your divine timeline. Because what they judged was your outer form, but what heaven is unlocking is your inner realm. The unrest you've experienced lately hath been spiritual. When atmospheres change, when angelic movement increases, the natural realm begins to shake. The closer heaven gets, the more the counterfeit begins to tremble. Your tears, monitored. Your silence, measured. Your obedience in the middle of chaos, heaven's proof of readiness. You have passed unseen tests, and now, the Spirit says, Watch for the reveal. There are watchers, not just angels, but also adversaries. Those in the shadows, in the spirit realm, and in the natural, who have been watching for your next move. They are unsettled. They sense that something about you is shifting. They can't explain it, but they feel it, and they fear it. Because you are no longer in the season where your warfare is about survival. You are now in the moment where your movement is about domination. You are being placed where no slander can reach you and no accusation can touch you, and that disturbs the spiritual powers that once held you back. Let this be known. You are not alone tonight. There is more watching you than you realize, and more guarding you than you know. The spiritual watchers who desired your fall must now witness your elevation. Michael is stationed. The angels are standing. The veil is thinning. Even now, as you read this, you may feel it. The room slightly colder, the weight behind your eyes, the burning on the back of your neck. This is the Spirit confirming, before dawn, what was hidden will start to surface. What was whispered about you in darkness will now be reversed in the light. But do not speak too soon. Let the night finish its work. Let the Spirit complete its visitation. You are under divine surveillance, not for harm, but for holiness. You are being marked again. You are being seen from heaven's throne. And before the clock turns, before the sun rises, you will know. The shift was not external, it was always eternal. Type "I am hidden in his wings" in the comments if this word is for you. Blessing code 777 is now active. You are covered. You are seen. You are secured. Just as this message has found you in your hour of need, it is our divine mission to carry these revelations across the earth. Every seed you sow into this ministry ignites another soul's awakening, another spirit's deliverance, another night's visitation. When you give, you don't just support content, you join a holy fire spreading across this generation. I believe someone watching right now is led here not just to receive, but to release. This is your moment to activate a harvest. This is your moment to partner with heaven. Just as in Joel 2:24, where it is written, "Your vats will overflow with new wine and oil," so too shall your giving open supernatural supply over your life. If you feel the Spirit tugging, do not wait. Obedience releases oil. Whether through super thanks, channel membership, or a one-time offering via PayPal, found in the video description. Step into this divine moment. Your gift becomes a prophetic act, and heaven always responds. Bless it. Move now. Sow it. The portal is open. Don't delay. What you have been walking through was never random. The interruptions, the warfare, the inner heaviness, they were never just coincidences. Heaven has been watching closely, silently observing, not your failures but your faithfulness. What seemed like instability was actually divine examination. There has been a war around your name, not because you are weak but because you are marked. Not because you are broken, but because you are becoming dangerous to darkness. This conflict around you, the sudden relational breakdowns, the warfare in your sleep, the closed doors without warning, has been nothing less than the evidence of an invisible battle. Heaven has not abandoned you. In fact, Archangel Michael has drawn his sword over your life. Every delay hath been a strategy. Every pause hath been permission for the heavens to rearrange the battlefield. You are not under attack because you're losing. You're under attack because you're winning. This is divine warfare, but it's not what it appears to be. You thought you were being punished. You thought the silence was rejection. You mistook the absence of answers for the absence of God. But I tell you now, You are not being punished. You are being refined. You are not in a pit. You are in a furnace. The fire is not there to consume you. It is there to purify what cannot go with you into your next. What hath been sent against you has only revealed what was always inside you: resilience, discernment, hunger, and humility. These are the weapons of the anointed. These are the tools of the chosen. Heaven does not elevate the untried. Heaven promotes only those who have endured without losing their worship. And if you're still reading, still seeking, still kneeling even through the confusion, then heaven sees you as qualified. You must understand now that resistance is not always rejection. Sometimes it's heaven verifying your readiness. The pressure is not proof that God has forgotten you. The pressure is proof that the weight of glory is being fitted for your shoulders. The shaking you feel is not falling apart. It's heaven removing what doesn't belong. Every unanswered prayer hath been a filter. Every no has been a protection. Every silence has been a stage being built in secret. And through it all, Archangel Michael has stood, not watching, but warring. He has stood between you and what should have destroyed you. You didn't survive because you were strong. You survived because heaven shielded you in weakness. There are arrows that should have pierced your mind. There are traps that should have stolen your purpose. But none prevailed. Because when heaven decrees protection, no demon in hell can override the word. This conflict is not punishment. It is prophetic pressure. And it means your elevation is close. The fight intensifies just before the breakthrough. The enemy always attacks most violently before destiny unlocks. And heaven is watching not just what you say, but how you wait. Your silence is a weapon. Your patience is proof. Your restraint is the signal that you are ready for greater. So, the Spirit says, stand still. Let the enemy watch. Let those who doubted you witness your unveiling. For every false word spoken against you, there is a record of truth being written in heaven. For every attack on your name, there is a crown being shaped in fire. You have endured what others ran from. You have stayed when others fled. And now, the storm that came to bury you has become the sound of your anointing breaking through. Type "I am being refined for glory" in the comments if you receive this message. Blessing code 828 is now surrounding your process. Heaven is standing with you. Listen carefully, because the moment is narrowing. There is a convergence taking place, the spiritual collision between what was, what is, and what must come next. You are standing at the edge of a supernatural transition. And now, the Spirit of the Lord speaks clearly. Movement has begun. In the invisible realm, strategies are unfolding. What was whispered in heaven is now echoing in the earth. There are plans being carried out, whispers being released, confrontations being positioned. You are not just watching it, you are inside it. This is not a distant prophecy. This is not a possibility. This is a present reality. And the warning is clear. Within the next 72 hours or less, the spiritual atmosphere surrounding you will shift. What was still will begin to tremble. What was blocked will begin to press forward. What was delayed will either break or manifest. You may not see it at first, but you will feel it. In your body, in your dreams, in the weight of the day. You will walk into rooms and sense the air is thick. You will hear people speak and know in your spirit that something is about to be revealed. The unseen world is adjusting, and your name is involved in the movement. This is why you've been tired, for no reason. This is why your body has felt heavy, your thoughts clouded, your rest uneasy. It's not just stress, it's angelic preparation. You are sensing the spiritual labor of heaven getting ready to deliver something through your life. You are spiritually dilated. And now the contractions, the pressure, the timing, the chaos are all proof that something is about to be born in you and for you. The Spirit says, be alert. There will be moments, perhaps in a conversation, a sudden phone call, a message from someone unexpected, where the natural world will echo the divine trigger. Someone may speak to you and not know they are confirming what the Spirit has already spoken. Someone may act out of character, not realizing they are being used to verify your calling. These are not accidents, these are God-ordained signals. When you sense it, don't respond with words. Don't move in panic. Whisper nothing. Let heaven act first. You are being positioned for a moment that will test your reaction, and your silence will be louder than any defense. Don't explain yourself. Don't clarify. Don't justify. The Spirit is already moving in the background. What you do in this hour must be directed by peace, not panic. What you say must be filtered by the Holy Spirit, not fear. This is not just warfare. This is verification. Heaven is not checking your comfort. Heaven is checking your consent. You are about to walk into something that was declared long before you were aware of it. What you've been sensing in your dreams, the strange symbols, the unknown faces, the doors opening and closing, those were not random images. Those were prophetic previews. God hath been speaking while you sleep, because what he is doing cannot be interrupted by your logic. While you slept, your spirit was in conversation with eternity. While your body rested, your destiny was being aligned. And now, the clock is ticking. The countdown is not a threat, it's a preparation. The 11:22 hour is not a moment of fear, but of finality. When it strikes, something will shift. Maybe not outside, maybe not loud, but deep within your spirit, you will know. The door has closed. The veil has lifted. The word has been fulfilled. And the only thing you must do is remain still, remain clean, remain ready. This is your warning, but not one of destruction. It is a warning of holy movement. It is heaven saying, stay close to my voice. Watch the next 72 hours. I will confirm what I have promised. And when the movement comes, do not fear it. Follow it. Type I am ready for movement in the comments if your spirit hears this call. Blessing code 1212 has been activated. Divine transition is now in motion. Now the hour approaches when the night will speak. But before the divine visitation arrives, heaven issues one final instruction. Be still. Do not war when heaven is at war for you. Do not speak when angels are surrounding your defense. Be still, because silence is not weakness in this hour. It is warfare. There are moments in life when stillness is not laziness. It is obedience. There are moments when heaven does not call you to fight, but to watch. And this is that moment. The visitation that comes at 11:22 p.m. is not entering a battlefield. It is entering a sanctuary. But the sanctuary must be cleared of noise. Your opinions, your responses, your justifications, they are all weights that must drop. Because the holy cannot enter where noise is louder than reverence. Hear this. Be still. Heaven fights when you don't. The angels are already in formation. The sword of Michael has already been drawn. The spirit realm is already vibrating with movement. And now, the Spirit of the Lord whispers into your soul, withdraw. Rest. Let stillness be your weapon. You've done all you can in the natural. You've tried to hold it together. You've prayed through clenched teeth and praised through tears. But now heaven says, stand down, so I can rise up. Stillness is not passive. Stillness is positional. It says, I trust the God I cannot see more than the chaos I can feel. Stillness is how the righteous stand when the flood rises. It is how the chosen walk through the fire. When Daniel entered the lion's den, he did not roar louder than the lions. He simply trusted. When the Red Sea stood in front of Moses, God didn't tell him to swim. He told him to lift what was in his hand and let the wind move. And so it is with you. You are in a moment where your movement will come not by might, not by power, but by the Spirit of the living God. So lay down the need to retaliate. Refuse the urge to respond. Silence is your sanctuary. Obedience is your oil. This is how the visitation finds you, ready, not reactive. Stillness is how you say to heaven, I trust you to do what I cannot. And when heaven finds a soul that trusts in silence, heaven responds in force. Before the hour of 11:22 p.m. arrives, prepare your space. Not with noise, but with reverence. Let the lights dim. Let the music stop. Let your spirit become still. This is not religion. This is preparation. Because when the visitation comes, it will not come with thunder. It will come like a whisper that shakes your bones. It will come like wind pressing against your breath, and only the still will hear it. Say this aloud with me now. I am shielded under divine command. My silence speaks louder than their noise. Heaven is not late. Heaven is precise. Do not fear the hour that approaches. Do not fear the hush that falls before it. Do not fear the stillness that surrounds your room. The stillness is holy. The silence is sacred. The hour is near, and heaven is not far from you. Heaven is not silent toward you. Heaven is standing over you. And when the moment comes, when the clock strikes and the veil thins, do not rush. Do not panic. Simply stay where you are and let the Spirit visit what has been closed, speak what has been hidden, and unlock what has been delayed. You are under divine surveillance, and you are being kept for something greater than noise can hold. Type I choose stillness in the comments if you receive this instruction. Lesson code 4411 is covering your house tonight. Angels have been deployed. Stay silent. Stay shielded. Now the tone shifts. The trembling gives way to transformation. What once felt like a warning has become a divine awakening. The voice that declared your time is over was not announcing your destruction. It was proclaiming the end of a cycle that kept you caged. That word was not your death sentence. It was your release notice. The version of you that bowed to fear, that lived under spiritual timidity, that second-guessed the oil on your life, that version has expired. The same Jesus who walked into your darkness is now calling you out of it. And the same Michael who defended you in secret is now surrounding you in power. You are no longer the same. You are no longer bound. The heavens have made a decision concerning your life. And the verdict is this: you rise. You stand. You move. You carry the flame. There is an empowerment happening even now. It may not feel loud, but it is eternal. The fire you feel in your bones is not adrenaline. It is the wind of the Spirit igniting what was buried beneath years of delay. You are shedding skin, not just physically but spiritually. The garments of grief, the layers of self-doubt, the old robe of rejection, it is all falling off. Because you are not who they remember. You have ascended. There is a moment when a caterpillar stops crawling and everything shuts down. The world thinks it's over. But inside the stillness of the cocoon, a transformation begins. Organs shift. Wings are formed. The identity that crawled in is not the one that flies out. And tonight, beloved, is your cocoon moment. The silence, the stillness, the crushing. It was all forming wings. Wings that do not flutter in fear, but fly with authority. What was sent to silence you has become the stage God is using to announce you. They tried to bury your voice, but your obedience amplified your sound in the spirit realm. Every tear you sowed in silence became a seed of spiritual authority. And now, the angels that once guarded your weeping are now bearing witness to your rising. Heaven is not just watching, heaven is celebrating. You endured without applause. You remained faithful with no spotlight. You battled silently while others doubted your sanity. But now, the unseen hand that kept you hidden is now the same hand lifting you in the sight of those who said you wouldn't survive. This is not revenge. This is revelation. You have not lost your power. You were being prepared to carry it fully. And now, what once made you weep now becomes your weapon. You speak with clarity. You walk with boldness. You pray with fire. Because now you understand, heaven never needed the world to validate you. Heaven validated you before the world ever heard your name. Hear this final truth from the Spirit of the living God. You do not bow. Heaven rises within you. Your posture has shifted. Your atmosphere has shifted. Your identity has shifted. The visitation was never meant to make you smaller. It was sent to awaken the giant in you. And now, the old labels fall to the floor. The old fears shrink in the light of your authority. The enemy has no voice in this new space. You are rising, and you will not apologize for it. Type "I am empowered by heaven" in the comments if your wings are opening. Lesson code 3344 now rests upon your assignment. Your time has begun. This was never just about a warning. This was not a message of fear. It was a prophetic unveiling. October 28th was marked in heaven, not as an ending in pain, but as a beginning in power. Before that date ever touched the earth, it had already been etched into the fabric of eternity. It was a portal, a divine hinge upon which your spiritual door would either close or swing open. And now, the Spirit of the Lord declares, the time of unveiling is here. You wondered why everything seemed to intensify in the days leading to that moment. You wondered why your spirit wouldn't rest, why you felt out of place even in familiar rooms. A disorientation with the signal of spiritual expiration. What was assigned to your last season could no longer follow you forward. The mantle you wore before October 28th has been retired. And now heaven announces, the old assignments have expired. I am issuing new orders. You were faithful over little. You endured the shadows. You survived what others didn't even know you were walking through. And heaven took note. The conversations you had with God in private have been recorded. The tears you wept behind closed doors became incense in the throne room. And now, the scroll has been opened. Your name has been spoken in the courts of heaven, not as a plea for mercy, but as a declaration of movement. Jesus himself, the eternal intercessor, has declared over your life, it is time. Michael, the warring angel who has defended your borders in silence, now bears witness as promotion is announced in the Spirit. What man withheld, heaven now releases. What systems delayed, heaven accelerates. The favor you could not buy is now chasing you down. The opportunity you thought you missed is circling back, reborn under divine timing. Hear this in your soul. This was never punishment. This was positioning. The fire you endured refined your hearing. The silence you survived deepened your discernment. The rejection you faced increased your authority. What was denied to you by men has now been authorized by heaven. And because it was not given by man, it cannot be taken away by man. Prophetic alignment is now unfolding. Even now, new people are being stirred to connect to you. Hidden helpers are being awakened. Keys you didn't know existed are being placed in your hands. Doors you didn't knock on are opening because heaven already whispered your name through them. Favor is no longer random. It is strategic. The oil on your life is no longer subtle. It is commission. And this is what the Spirit says. The delay was never denial. It was divine setup. And now, what was withheld is being released. You will begin to see subtle alignments, sudden clarity, and sudden confirmation. But don't run ahead. Let every step be led by peace. Let every move be prompted by the Holy Spirit. This is not the time to strive. This is the time to receive. And as you receive, remember, this was never about elevation alone. This was about revelation. God needed you to see who you really are. And now, you no longer serve from scarcity, but from identity. You no longer war from insecurity, but from inheritance. You are not rising because you earned it. You are rising because He called you to it. Type "I receive the NEW" orders in the comments if this revelation confirms what your spirit had been sensing. Lesson code 5511 have been spoken over your destiny. Walk in what has been released. You have just stepped into prophetic revelation, a moment where heaven confirms what your heart dared to believe. If this message has ignited something within you, don't let it stop here. Help us carry this fire into the hearts of others who are still waiting for their divine confirmation. Your support is not for a video, it's for souls, for destinies, for the next wave of breakthrough. I believe you're not just receiving this word, you're called to help send it. When you sow into this ministry, you open the gates for others to experience the same revelation. Just as in Malachi 3:10, where the Lord declares He will open the windows of heaven, your seed becomes the key to open windows in someone else's night. Whether it's through super thanks, YouTube membership, or a one-time offering through the PayPal link in the description, this is your moment to move prophetically. Obedience is a spiritual multiplier. Heaven watches how we respond when the word is still fresh. Give boldly. Give intentionally. Give prophetically. And as you do, may the same grace released in this word overflow back into your life. Pressed down, shaken together, and running over. Now comes the command that turns revelation into movement. Activation. What has been spoken over you cannot remain dormant. What was released on October 28th was not just an announcement. It was an assignment. You were not just chosen to feel something. You were chosen to do something. Heaven is now looking for your response. The Spirit of God says, heaven waits for your yes. Not a yes spoken in fear. Not a yes murmured in hesitation. But a yes that comes from deep knowing. A yes that breaks the chains of delay and ignites the next season of divine purpose. There is no more room for wavering. No more time for sitting at the threshold of obedience. The hour is late. The visitation has begun, and the oil is moving. What you say now determines what heaven releases next. You must step in. You must align your actions with your anointing. You must begin to walk in what was always written about you, even if the world has not seen it yet. The delay was never because heaven wasn't ready. The delay was to bring you to the edge of activation, where faith speaks louder than fear and movement is birthed from surrender. Declare it out loud. Right now, my line with my divine timing. My destiny cannot be delayed. What God started in me, He will finish. This is more than affirmation. This is alignment. Heaven is listening. The angels who ward on your behalf are now waiting to accompany your next steps. What you do now determines how swiftly you move into what has already been assigned. The door is open, but you must walk through. The call has been issued, but you must respond. Activation is not performance. Activation is permission. You do not need everyone to understand your next move. You do not need their validation. The calling on your life is older than their opinion. You do not move because of who applauds you. You move because the throne has spoken your name. You move because Jesus said, "Your time is over." And now, the time of waiting, the time of wandering, the time of holding back has come to its end. Heaven is pushing you forward. The Spirit is stirring you awake. And now, you must act, not in panic but in purpose. There are things you've been praying for that are not waiting on God. They are waiting on your activation. The dream is already finished in heaven. The promise is already complete in the eternal realm. The only missing piece is your movement. As you say yes, not just with your lips but with your life, something unlocks in the unseen. The ground beneath your feet begins to shift. The favor that was hovering begins to descend. The help that was delayed is now dispatched. Do not wait for peace to feel perfect. Obey when the Spirit confirms. Sometimes peace won't come from the outside. It will be born within you, by the Spirit. Move when the confirmation comes, even if fear knocks on the same door. Because fear is always the last sound you hear before your destiny breaks open. And once it opens, it will not close again. This is the moment where you must live like someone who has seen the throne move. Your words must shift. Your prayers must deepen. Your boldness must rise. You are not begging God to choose you. He already has. You are not pleading for purpose. You are now walking in the assignment. And from this night forward, your life will not echo the silence of delay. It will thunder with the sound of fulfilled prophecy. Type "I activate my destiny" in the comments if you feel the fire stirring in you. Blessing code 3003 is breaking the seals over your next chapter. The gate is open. Step through. There are things happening right now that no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no mind could fully comprehend. Yet your spirit knows. Your soul has felt it. That strange restlessness you couldn't name. That subtle sense of waiting, of watching, of wondering. It wasn't anxiety. It was awareness. Something in the spirit realm has shifted, and you are in the middle of a divine exchange, not in front of men, but in the silence of heaven's courtrooms. As you read this, angels are moving, but not with fire or thunder. They are moving with scrolls, keys, seals, and blueprints. Heaven's kingdom operates in divine order, and now there is a silent exchange happening on your behalf. There are documents being rewritten, decrees being reversed, and what was stolen is being traded back. What was denied is being returned with interest. What was hidden is now being revealed under divine timing. And it is happening while the world sleeps, but you are awake. Michael, the warring archangel, is not just a guardian in your battle. He is also a witness in heaven's courts. While you slept, he stood before the throne. While you cried, he presented your name. While you thought you were forgotten, heaven was negotiating on your behalf. And now, the Spirit says, nothing is lost. It is being divinely transferred back to you. There are spiritual exchanges that must happen in stillness. Not every victory comes through a shout. Some come through silence. Some come through waiting, through surrender, through trust so deep that heaven recognizes it as obedience. Your stillness this night was a language. Your quietness was a petition. And because you resisted the urge to fight in the flesh, you allowed the Spirit to win battles in the unseen. The enemy tried to exhaust you before this moment. He sent confusion into your thoughts, heaviness into your chest, distractions into your schedule, all to make you miss this holy hour. But you endured. You pressed in. And now, heaven is pressing back. There is a supernatural trade happening, sorrow for strength, mourning for joy, delay for destiny. And the angels are not late. They are precise. They are moving according to what was written about you in eternity. And tonight, heaven's timeline is catching up to your life. The Spirit whispers, while you sleep, I record. While you rest, I restore. While you dream, I release. This night is holy, not because of what you do, but because of what heaven is doing for you. Every word spoken against your future is being overruled. Every lie sown against your identity is being unraveled. Every limitation placed on your name is being removed by fire. And it is happening silently, in the realm where man cannot interfere, where Satan cannot trespass, and where Jesus reigns as your advocate and king. This exchange is not temporary. It is covenantal. It is binding. It is irreversible. Because it is not built on your feelings or your failures. It is built on God's promise and Christ's blood. And as you lay down tonight, whether in peace or in tears, know this. You are not vulnerable. You are under divine transaction. The enemy thought your silence was surrender, but heaven saw it as strategy. And now, as you yield, the Spirit will roar. As you rest, the angels will move. And as you sleep, the throne will speak your name again, not in judgment, but in honor. Type I receive the divine exchange in the comments if your spirit feels this holy transaction. Blessing code 9090 is now unlocking what was delayed. It is being restored, and this time, it will remain. Justice have been seated. The courts of heaven have convened. The gavel has struck the throne of righteousness, and the Spirit of the Lord now declares, the reversal has begun. What was permitted for a season is no longer permitted in your life. The suffering that was allowed to refine you is now finished. The cycles that were used to shape you have now served their purpose. The injustice that was tolerated to prove your purity is now being overturned by divine fire. You have cried for justice, not vengeance, not retaliation, but holy justice. And heaven heard, not once, not twice, but every time you bit your tongue, every time you walked away when you could have exposed them, every time you chose silence over slander, prayer over pride, all of it counted. And the Spirit says, I have weighed it, I have measured it, and I am repaying it. What they spoke against you will become the stage God uses to announce you. The very mouths that cursed your name will watch your name be called into promotion. The ones who lied to delay you will now witness your acceleration. Because the throne of God is not indifferent to injustice. The throne of God is a consuming fire that answers the cries of the righteous. And the tears you thought were wasted, they have filled a cup. And now the cup is tipping. Now the scales are balancing. Now the reversal is in motion. They called you weak, not knowing your restraint was strength covered in obedience. They mocked your quietness, not understanding it was the posture of someone surrounded by angels. They thought your delay was defeat, not realizing it was divine patience unfolding a greater script. But now the script flips. Now the page turns. Now heaven shows them who was truly being shaped. You not gloat. You not seek applause. This isn't the hour for celebration. This is the hour for awe. Because you are about to see what only God could do. You are about to see how he turns the stone the builders rejected into the cornerstone. This is divine reversal, not for revenge, but for revelation. They need to see it. Not to worship you, but to fear the God who vindicates you. The Spirit says, I have reversed the decree. What was written against you has been erased. What was declared by men has been overturned by heaven. What was lost in the natural is being restored by spiritual fire. The same fire that refined you is now the fire that defends you. No accusation can land. No curse can cling. No chain can hold. Because the judgment hath been passed, and it's in your favor. You will feel it in the coming days. A peace you can't explain. A lightness in your soul. Conversations shifting. Doors opening without you knocking. These are not coincidences. They are evidences. Evidence that heaven's word is final. Evidence that Jesus, your advocate, has spoken. Evidence that Michael's sword was never idle. It was waiting for the divine signal. And now, the sword has struck. This is the moment where your history is swallowed by your heavenly inheritance, where your record of pain becomes a testimony of God's justice. What they said would ruin you is what God will use to raise you, and what they tried to bury you under, that will be the very soil from which you bloom. Type "the reversal is mine" in the comments if this word confirms your breakthrough. Blessing code 1010 is active. The courts of heaven have ruled, and your freedom has been stamped in glory. Now we have come to the closing of this holy decree. But this is not an ending. This is an arrival. This was never about destruction. It was never a message of fear. This was a birthing announcement, a declaration that the old cycle has been broken and the new has begun. When Jesus and Archangel Michael said, "Your time is over," it wasn't death they were speaking of. It was deliverance. The time of being overlooked is over. The time of delay is over. The time of spiritual stagnation is over. And now, your appointed hour has come. You feared the darkness, but the darkness was never sent to destroy you. It was the sacred space where heaven hid you to be transformed. The silence wasn't rejection, it was refinement. The waiting wasn't punishment, it was preparation. And now, the clock has struck, and the veil has lifted. What visits you now is not judgment, but presence. The very presence of the King. The presence of glory. The presence of divine affirmation. Tonight, the heavens declare a new decree over you. You are sealed in the light. You are seen, shielded, and sent. You are covered by the blood and called by the throne. You are heaven's announcement to the earth. Let this be the final assurance echoing in your spirit. The hour passed, but you remain. You remain because you were chosen. You remain because you were preserved. You remain because the blood still speaks louder than every curse, every lie, every delay. The enemy thought the night would bury you, but the night became your womb, and from it you have emerged anointed, armed, and awakened. So now, rise, not in fear. Rise in revelation. Walk into the new instructions. Speak only what the Spirit stirs. Move only when peace says, now. You are not what you were. And from this moment forward, you do not move as one still waiting to be validated. You move as one who has heard the voice of heaven break through the veil. This word was not just sent to warn you. It was sent to mark you, and that mark cannot be erased. You are walking out of this moment with a fresh seal on your spirit, a divine fingerprint that sets you apart from this moment forward. May peace guard your door. May angels light your night. May Michael stand watch over your threshold. And may Jesus himself whisper into your spirit, "You are mine. You are ready. You are rising." Type "I am sealed in glory" in the comments if this word was written for your spirit. Blessing code 7777 has now settled over your name. What is released will not be reversed. As this prophetic word seals your spirit, I ask you not just to hear this message, but to help carry it. This isn't entertainment. This is divine assignment. And when you support this ministry, you become a partner in spreading God's fire across this digital wilderness. I believe someone watching right now was born to fund freedom, to send light into the dark, to partner with heaven's agenda. When you sow, you're not supporting a channel. You're sowing into a global altar, igniting chains to break in other lives the same way they've broken in yours. Like Proverbs 11:25 says, those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. As you give, through super thanks, membership, or a direct offering via PayPal in the description, let your seed become a prophetic weapon. Let your support echo what heaven has just done in your life. Do it boldly. Do it with expectation. Do it as one who has heard from the throne. And may heaven multiply it with fire.